It's my delight to welcome you to the continuation of your news and current affairs program, TMI, reaching you live from our Lagos studios on the ITV network. I am Joshua Okata. Today on the show, we'll be talking politics with respect to the aftermath of the Lagos APC LG and LCDA Primaries that was just concluded on Saturday. Of course, not without its skirmishes, but of course, we'll be looking at several issues that played out. According to our sources, it's looking like the era of the imposition of candidates, otherwise known as the Babasokwe, in the guise of a consensus candidate, is gradually finding its way back to the Lagos APC primaries. But of course, we've got a guest right here who is a councillorship candidate or an aspirant who will be sharing his perspective with us as regards what actually went down in his local government in Shomolu. But of course, we beg to say that whatever views that will be shared on this platform will be that of his and does not represent ITV nor the APC leadership. Right now, we'll be bringing you our guest, who is in the person of Mr. Mohammed Kabil Olukola. He is a councillorship aspirant of Shomolu local government area. Good morning, Mr. Mohammed, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right, now let's get into the crux of the matter. The primaries of the Lagos APC has just been held, if you permit me to use that word. But of course, not without hitches or of course reservation across various local government and LCD areas. But let me get your view as regards this, because you cannot just be in all the local government and LCD at the same time. You were vying for the councillorship position in Shomolu local government. Tell me what exactly is your observation or your take from what went down in Shomolu local government area.
Well, thank you very much for the question. And well, from my observation or my experience, personal experience, the first thing is that the primary election in Shomolu went down without any skirmish. Skirmish in the sense that no loss of lives and no danger to people's property and every other thing. However, just like any other contest, we will have people who are not contented or who are not really in tune with whatever outcome a contest will be. For example, we have 8 wards in Shomolu local government, from Ward A to Ward H. Okay, and there will be internal strategies that will take place from each wards, especially from the angle of leadership to the aspirants and the community, especially those who matters most when it comes to the primary election. So every other person that has vied for that position would be wishing to have been the person who comes out tops of the competition. However, only one person will emerge, and you will feel in one way or the other that it should have been me. Why not me? So let me give you an instance. In my own words, before the parties brought out its guidelines, it's Ward F, that's Ward F, Fola Guru Bajulai. So we were told that anyone is free to vie for that position, and it's a free contest. So as days come by, as events unfolds, you keep getting different information. I could remember that when the party announced that it is ready to sell its nomination forms, right, there was a sort of meeting between the aspirants and some elders, party elders within the ward, who will tell you, or who told us, let me say, told us that, okay, we have zoned the councillorship ticket to a specific zone in that ward. Like, for example, in my ward F, we have 4 zones, and I would like to say, let me just use zone A, B, C, and D. So, and it was reviewed by those elders that there has been a rotational way where they select the councillorship position in that ward. Therefore, if you are not from zone A, B, and D, you should step back. Let only those who are in zone E come out. I mean, buy forms and still contest for that. However, they stated it in their words that it's just an advice. Okay, so you can go ahead and buy your form, but we are just advising you so that you won't waste your money. So in that light, you find out that the tone has changed, because from the initial stage, you kept telling people to make their intentions known. So when it gets to the place that it mattered most, it is now an issue of, oh, you can't do this, you can't go beyond this stage. Of course, some of us went ahead to buy the form, to do whatever it is according to the party's guideline.
In spite of telling you at that point in time that there is a consensus candidate.
No consensus. That point, there was no consensus.
No, I'm saying that at the point where you knew that you cannot go further, okay, then the issue of consensus is already on the way, even if it has not been made clear to you guys.
Okay, yes, let's put it that way.
All right, so now the question is, at that point where you know that you have gotten to the end of the road, as it were, what is introduced to you?
Well, the issue is that, you know, in politics, you hardly trust words of people. That could be a gimmick, or a sort of let me say a gimmick for some set of people to want to disenfranchise you because they see you as a threat. Okay. So if you just sit down and say, okay, that is it, let me just go back and sit down, you've literally just accepted defeat at the very beginning.
So if you say that is gimmick, you know, that is being introduced to the system, are there other alternatives that is, you know, introduced or offered to you as a negotiation?
Okay, at that point, there won't be any according to what I witnessed that day.
Yeah.
At that point, there is no room for negotiation as at that time. You know why? You haven't even purchased the party's form. So you are not even recognized by the party at the secretariat level.
So in the light of you wanting to be recognized, in spite of the fact that you've been told that this is the end of the road, as it were, for you, when you take a step further to buy the form, it means that you have made some commitments. Yes. So at that point, where some sort of commitment has been made financially from your own end,
okay,
is there any sort of negotiation that takes place thereafter?
And that is where the power of negotiation comes in.
All right, so tell us more about that.
For example, if you've been able to go through the party's guidelines, you've purchased the form, gone through screening, try to meet some of the stakeholders. Okay, these are steps that we took. Okay, and don't forget that when some of us were told those things, okay, we went back to our leaders, our respective leaders within the local government, who will reveal to you that that is not how it is done. This set of people are just trying to disenfranchise you. Do not listen to that, because when it comes to the point that it mattered most, you won't be reckoned with. For example, if I had not purchased the form and I haven't gone through the screening process with the party, I haven't filled the form, I haven't submitted my document, I haven't perfected my my submission strategy. I haven't gone through the whole process. Why would I come here to sit down with you and talk?
Okay, so you went ahead to buy the phone.
Yes, I did.
Despite of the fact that you were told that this is the end of the road for you.
Because that wasn't.
Yes, we know.
It's not a legally binding statement.
So
it was just
so you feel it was a gimmick, right?
Yes.
And you went ahead to purchase the form.
Of course.
Having purchased the form, at what point did they introduce the idea of negotiation?
Okay, negotiation doesn't come in yet. See, the thing is that sometimes negotiations are not put on the table like in the public. These are back-end deals.
Say that again.
They are back-end deals that you have to go through, okay? Because
are they constitutional?
Not constitutional.
All right.
So that's why I said you won't just put it on the table. You have to go. It's something that you have to do from the area of strength. You can't be pleading for people to or for the government to give you an appointment if you don't have anything to offer, or if you have not even contributed to that purse. So
what was offered to you as a negotiation?
No. Okay, I will say two things here.
Okay.
From the level of the leaders who said they advised us or me not to purchase that form, nothing was offered. But from the level of my own, let me say, political godfather, let me put it that way, my boss.
Who is your godfather?
Yeah, I'm not godfather, and that's just lack of a better word. Let me say my boss, my political boss, who is the local government chairman. He was one who assured me that I can't let anybody send me back. If you believe in this dream, you have to go for it. Okay, purchase your form, go through the process. You will understand what it entails to be in this game, and that was what I followed. Now, what happened is that when we went through all the processes and the primaries came, it was still that consensus or still that zoning principle that they stood upon. Okay, at a particular point when I even bought the form, I met some of the leaders. Some of them refused to even attend to me. These are leaders that they've seen you do great stuff within the party system, especially within the world, and they turn their backs on you. So those are the things that but buying that form gives you a power, gives you that negotiation power from the area of strength. So that once they are discussing with stakeholders, you can confidently raise your voice to tell them this is not how it is done. I remembered on that day when they told us, especially me, because they called us in one by one, I mean individually, I made a statement and I told them nothing is absolute. Respectfully, nothing is absolute, because at certain points games can change, negotiations can come in, and you can have your way, right? So but that was not even the point. The point is that we cannot have a set of people who thinks they own the party decide for a multitude of people, especially at the world level.
Okay, just hold your thought for a while. We're going to go on a very short pause, and when we return, we'll take more facts from you as regards what happened immediately after you purchased your form. Okay. Was there any, sort of bargaining power you had? If really you've been edged out from that particular position you were vying for, which is the councillorship position. So we'll be back shortly to take those issues. Do stay with us. Thanks you so much for staying with us. It's your program, your TMI program, coming to you from our Lagos Network studios. We've been engaging with Mohammed Kabir Olukola, who is the aspirant vying for the position of the councillorship, and of course he's been giving us his takes as regards his observation as to what went down in the APC local government and of course LCDA primaries that took place on Saturday. All right, now let's get your take as regards the backdoor deals that were offered. as against what you actually vied for, which is the councillorship position?
Okay, thank you very much. So I need to state one thing clearly, that going into that contest wasn't a do or die affair. It was actually out of the need to serve, because this is a community I grew up. I've spent close to 4 decades there. So, and it's just out of that, having served as the SA on ICT and engaged some of our young people, I've been able to see the loopholes where leadership can take place and take charge, so that people will feel, especially at the grassroots level, because the local government system of government is the closest to the people. And as a councillor representing that ward, you have a voice representing your ward, and that you can amplify the voice so that they can hear you, and you can also get in touch with them. Having said that too, I didn't vie from the position of entitlement, okay? That position, or maybe because I'm the best of those who are contesting. I only brought myself out because I feel I can offer the best, not because I'm the best. However, the events that unfolds only taught me big lessons about politics and about how to actually engage and negotiate better.
All right, so talk to us about the negotiation.
Okay, the negotiations are not really something concrete, okay? These are just whispers, okay? For example, if you make the process easier for the umpires, what do you mean if you make it easier for the umpires? Okay, for example, when the consensus candidate was agreed upon, okay, I have the right, let me just say, to protest and start sending, because the state government, I mean, the party has set up an appeal committee, right? I have the right to go there, throw tantrums, or do whatever I feel within the ambit of the law. But what I did was to congratulate the person that was...
Who is the consensus candidate?
Yes, to congratulate the person and offer my support for the person, okay? She's even a female, okay? So congratulate, offer my support, and then I sit back without causing any... I have some other candidates who were claiming that they won the primaries, okay? So that is a conflict on its own. So, but the party has set up an appeal committee to look into that situation. Of course, I won't be a party to that because I've made peace with that. So the back end deals you are talking about, they are whispers, okay? They are not legally binding documents.
Sure. That
they will tell you, okay, you must get this, okay? But based on calculation and your political alignment, you might be favored due to the antecedents you've laid and your ability to resolve conflicts within yourself first before coming out. So
all right, now, so you've spoken about how you've been able to make peace with yourself, okay, and of course the consensus candidate.
Yes.
Now, what is in for you now? Is it an appointment of a sort? So talk to us about it.
Well, I can't decide on that.
No, from the look of things,
it should be an appointment.
Okay,
right?
What kind of appointment?
Well, it could be a political appointment. For example, from previous antecedents, let me just put it that way. From antecedents, we've seen that people who didn't get the councillorship ticket or whatever and are still very relevant in the system are given appointments as supervisor to a specific department.
So you might likely get one.
Yes, I might likely get one.
Are you satisfied with that as against what you actually contested for?
Of course, you want to.
All right. Now, what's your take as regards, because we're coasting home, we're pressed for time. So what's your take as regards the imposition, or otherwise known as the Babasokwe kind of politics, in the guise of a consensus candidate? What dangers do you see if this can be played at the local government level? What is your take as regards when it becomes the norm at the gubernatorial level?
Okay, let me say this. You know, imposition is relative sometimes. It's relative because your level of exposure to information and strategy will be different from mine. And once I see, I might call it imposition. I'm not in any position to regard to a specific outcome as imposition. Not because it will favor me or not, but because I don't own the party. The people that are at the helm of affairs at the party level, in their supreme wisdom, will do some things in order to curb violence. Okay.
When you say do some things in order to curb violence, where is the place of an open ballot system where the will of the people is in reflection of the candidate that was, in quote, elected?
You need to understand something. There are layers, there are levels to all these things. Let me tell you something.
We are pressed for time.
Yes.
So give me the dangers associated with imposing, in quote, a consensus candidate against the will of the people.
Let me make this statement so that,
because that's the reason for the protest in
yes,
some part of the local government areas.
Because I'm not at those levels. Okay, what I'm saying in essence is that if it at all there are impositions as alleged by people, it poses a danger of bringing in the wrong person.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's a beautiful place to leave it. We have been having a conversation with Mohammed Kabir Olukola, who is an aspirant vying for the position of a councillorship in the just concluded local government and also LCDA primaries in Lagos under the APC. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, the program continues shortly as we'll be handing you over to our Benin Network studios.